He's our man of my right. Defend the justice of my cause with arms. And countrymen, my loving followers, plead my successive title with your swords. I am his firstborn son that was the last that wore the imperial diadem of Rome. And let my father's honors live in me, nor wrong mine age with this indignity.
It's Romans, friends, followers, favorers of my right. If ever Bassianus, Caesar's son, were gracious in the eyes of royal Rome, keep then this passage to the capital, and suffer not dishonor to approach the imperial seat, to virtue consecrate, to justice, continence, and nobility. But let desert and pure election shine, and Romans, fight for freedom in your choice.
Adonidas!
Bassianus!
Princes that strive by factions and by friends. Ambitiously for rule and empery, know that the people of Rome for whom we stand, a special party, have by common voice in the election of the Roman emperor chosen Andronicus, surnamed Pius, for many good and great deserts to Rome. He by the Senate is asserted home from weary wars against the barbarous Goths. 10 years are spent since first he undertook this cause of Rome, and chastised with arms our enemies' pride. 5 times hath he returned, bleeding, to Rome, bearing his valiant sons in coffins from the field. And now, at last, laden with horror spoils, returns the good Andronicus to Rome. Renowned Titus, flourishing in arms, let us entreat by honor of his name, that you withdraw you, and abate your strength, dismiss your followers, and as suitors should, plead your deserts in peace and humbleness.
There the tribune speaks to calm my thoughts.
Marcus Andronicus, so do I, ally in thy uprightness and integrity. And so I love and honor thee and thine, thy noble brother Titus and his sons, and her, to whom my thoughts are humbled, all gracious Lavinia, Rome's rich ornament, that I will here dismiss my loving friends, and to my fortunes and the people's favor commit my cause in balance to be weighed.
Friends that have been thus forward in my right, I thank you all, and here dismiss you all. And to the love and favor of my country, commit myself, my person, and the cause. Rome be as just and gracious unto me as I am confident and kind to thee. Open the gates. Let me in.
Tribunes, and me, a poor competitor.
Hail, Rome, victorious in thy morning weeds. Cometh Andronicus, bound with laurel boughs, to resalute his country with his tears, tears of true joy for his return to Rome. Romans, of 25 valiant sons, behold, the poor remains, alive and dead. These that survive, let Rome reward with love. These that I bring unto their latest home with burial amongst their ancestors, make way to lay them by their brethren. There greet in silence, as the dead are wont, and sleep in peace, slain in your country's wars.
Give us the proudest prisoner of the Goths, that we may hew his limbs, and on a pile ad manes fratrum sacrifice his flesh.
I give him you, the noblest that survives, the eldest son of this distressed queen.
Say, Roman brethren, gracious conqueror, victorious Titus, rue the tears I shed, a mother's tears in passion for her son. And if my sons were ever dear to thee, oh, think my son to be as dear to me. Sufficeth not that we are brought to Rome to beautify thy triumphs and return, captive to thee and to thy Roman yoke. Must my sons slaughtered in the streets for valiant doings in their country's cause? Oh, if to fight for king and country were a fault, so near them, and in being merciful. Sweet mercy is nobility's true badge. Christ, noble Titus, spare my firstborn son.
Patient yourself, madam, and pardon me. These are their brethren, whom you Goths beheld, alive and dead, and for their brethren slain, religiously they ask a sacrifice. So this your son is marked, and die he must, to appease their groaning shadows that are gone.
Away with him. And make a fire straight, and with our swords upon a pile of wood, let's hew his limbs till they be clean consumed.
Oh, clean rule and religious piety!
Now, madam, stand resolved, but hope withal the self-same gods that armed the Queen of Troy with opportunity of sharp revenge may favor Tamara, the Queen of Goths, to quit the bloody wrongs upon her foes.
See, Lord and Father, how we have performed our Roman rites. Remaineth not but to inter our brethren, and with loud larums welcome them to Rome.
Let it be so, and let Andronicus make this his latest farewell to their souls. In peace and honor rest you here, my sons. Here lurks no treason, here no envy swells. Here grow no damned grudges, here are no storms, no noise, but silence and eternal sleep. In peace and honor rest you here, my sons.
In peace and honor live Lord Titus long. My noble lord and father, live in fame. Lo, at this tomb, my tributary tears I render for my brethren's obsequies, and at thy feet I kneel, with tears of joy, shed on the earth for thy return to Rome. Oh, bless me here with thy victorious hand, whose fortunes Rome best citizens applaud.
Kind Rome, that hast thus lovingly reserved the cordial of mine age to glad my heart. Lavinia, live, outlive thy father's days and fame's eternal date, for virtue's praise.
Long live Lord Titus, my beloved brother, gracious triumpher in the eyes of Rome.
Thanks, gentle tribune, noble brother Marcus.
Titus Andronicus, the people of Rome, whose friend in justice thou hast ever been, send thee by me their tribute and their trust, this palliament of white and spotless hue, and name thee in election for the empire. With these our late deceased emperor's sons, be candidatus then, and put it on to help, and set it on the head of helpless and headless Rome.
A better head her glorious body fits than his that shakes for age and feebleness. Rome, I have been thy soldier 40 years, and led my country's strength successfully, and buried 21 valiant sons. Give me a staff of honor for mine age, but not a scepter to control the world. Upright he held it, lords, that held it last.
Titus, thou shalt obtain and ask the empery.
Proud and ambitious tribune, canst thou tell?
Patience, Prince Saturninus.
Romans, do me right! Patricians, draw your swords and sheathe them not till Saturninus be Rome's emperor. Andronicus, would thou wert shipped to hell rather than rob me of the people's hearts!
Proud Saturnine, interrupter of the good that noble-minded Titus means to thee.
Content thee, Prince, I will restore to thee the people's hearts and wean them from themselves.
Andronicus, I do not flatter thee, but honor thee, and will do till I die. My faction, if thou strengthen with thy friends, I will most thankful be. And thanks to men of noble minds is honorable meed.
People of Rome and people's tribunes here, I ask your voices and your suffrages. Will you bestow them friendly on Andronicus?
Yeah, the people will accept him, he admits.
Tribunes, I thank you. And this suit I make, that you create your emperor's eldest son, Lord Saturnine, whose virtues will, I hope, reflect on Rome as Titans rays on earth, and ripen justice in this commonweal. Then, if you will elect by my advice, crown him and say, long live our emperor.
We say, long live our emperor! Saturnine!
Titus Andronicus, for thy favors done to us in our election this day, I give thee thanks in part of thy deserts, and will with deeds requite thy gentleness. And for an onset, Titus, to advance thy name and honorable family, Lavinia will I make my empress, Rome's royal mistress, mistress of my heart, and in the sacred pantheon her espouse. Tell me, Andronicus, doth this motion please thee?
It doth, my worthy lord, and in this match I hold me highly honoured of your grace. And here, in sight of Rome, to Saturnine, the wide world's emperor, do I consecrate my sword, my chariot, and my prisoners. Presents well worthy Rome's imperial lord. Receive them then, the tribute that I owe, mine honour's ensigns, humbled at thy feet.
Thanks, noble Titus, father of my life. How proud I am of thee and of thy gifts, Rome shall record. And when I do forget the least of these unspeakable deserts, Romans, forget your fealty to me.
Now, madam, are you prisoner to an emperor? To him that for your honour and your state will use you nobly, and your followers.
Goodly lady, trust me of the hue that I would choose were I to choose anew. Clear up, fair queen, that cloudy countenance, though chance of war hath wrought this change of cheer. Thou comest not to be made a scorn in Rome. Princely shall be thy usage every way. Rest on my word, and let not discontent daunt all your hopes. Madam, he comforts you, can make you greater than the Queen of Goths. Lavinia, you are not displeased with this?
Not I, my lord, sith true nobility warrants these words in princely courtesy.
Thanks, sweet Lavinia. Romans, let us go. Ransom was here, we set our prisoners free. Proclaim our honors, lords, with trump and drum.
Lord Titus, by your leave, this maid is mine.
Oh, sir, are you in earnest then, my lord?
I, noble Titus, and resolved withal to do myself this reason and this right.
And that he will and shall if Lucius live.
Traitors, avaunt! Where is the Emperor's guard? Treason, my lord. Lavinia is surprised.
Surprised? By whom?
By him that justly may bear his betrothed from all the world away.
Brothers, I help to convey her hence away, and with my sword I'll keep this door safe.
Follow, my lord, and I'll soon bring her back.
My lord, you pass not here.
What, villainous boy, bars me my way in Rome?
Oh, help! Lucius, help!
My lord, you are unjust, and more than so in wrongful quarrel. You have slain your son.
Nor thou nor he or any sons of mine. My sons would never so dishonour me, traitor. Restore Lavinia to the Emperor.
Dead, if you will, but not to be his wife. That is another's lawful, promised love.
No, Titus, no. The Emperor needs her not, nor her, nor thee, nor any of thy stock. I'll trust by leisure him that mocks me once, thee never, nor thy traitorous haughty sons, confederates all thus to dishonor me. Was there none else in Rome to make a stale but Saturnine? Full well, Andronicus, agree these deeds with that brag of thine that saidst, I begged the empire at thy hands.
Oh, monstrous, what reproachful words are these?
But go thy ways, go. Give that changing peace to him that flourished for her with his sword. A valiant son-in-law thou shalt enjoy, one fit to bandy with thy lawless sons, to ruffle in the commonwealth of Rome.
These words are razors to my wounded heart.
And therefore, lovely Tamara, Queen of Goths, if thou be pleased with this my sudden choice, behold, I choose thee, Tamara, for my bride, and will create the Empress of Rome. Speak, Queen of Goths, dost thou applaud my choice? I will not resalute the streets of Rome or climb my palace till from forth this place I lead espoused my bride along with me.
And here, in sight of heaven, to Rome I swear, if Saturnine advance the Queen of Goths, she will a handmaid be to his desires, a loving nurse, a mother to his youth.
Ascend, fair Queen Pantheon. Lords, accompany your noble emperor and his lovely bride, sent by the heavens for Prince Saturnine, whose wisdom hath her fortune conquered. There shall we consummate our spousal rights.
I am not bid to wait upon this bride. Titus, when wert thou wont to walk alone, dishonoured thus and challenged of wrongs?
Oh, Titus! Oh, see, what hast thou done? In a bad quarrel slain a virtuous son?
No, foolish tribune, no son of mine, nor thou, nor these confederates in the deed that have dishonoured all our family, unworthy brother and unworthy sons.
Give Lucius burial with our brethren.
Traitors, away! He rests not in this tomb. This monument 500 years hath stood, which I have sumptuously re-edified. Here none but soldiers and Rome's servitors repose in fame, none basely slain in brawls. Bury him where you can, he comes not here.
My lord, this is impiety in you. My nephew Mucius' deeds do plead for him. He must be buried with his brethren.
And shall, or him we will accompany.
And shall, what villain was it that spake that word?
He that would vouch it in any place but here.
What, would you bury him in my despite?
No, noble Titus, but entreat of thee to pardon Mucius and to bury him.
Marcus, even thou hast struck upon my crest, and with these boys mine honour thou hast wounded. My foes, I do repute you, everyone. So trouble me no more, but get you gone.
He is not with himself. Let us withdraw.
Not I, till Mucius' bones be buried.
Brother, for in that name doth nature plead, suffer thy brother Marcus to enter his noble nephew here in virtue's nest, that died in honor and Lavinia's cause. Let not Mucius then, that was thy joy, be barred his entrance here.
Rise, rise, Marcus, rise. The dismalest day is this that e'er I saw. To be dishonoured by my sons in Rome. Well, bury him, bury me the next.
There lie thy bones, sweet Mucius, with thy friends, till we with trophies do adorn thy tomb.
My lord, to step out of these dreary dumps, how comes it that the subtle queen of Goths is of a sudden thus advanced in Rome?
I know not, Marcus, but I know it is. Whether by device or no, the heavens can tell.
So, bossy Anus, you have played your prize. God give you joy, sir, of your gallant bride.
And you, of yours, my lord. I say no more, nor wish no less. So I take my leave.
Traitor! If Rome have law or we have power, thou and thy faction shall repent this rape.
Rape, call you it, my lord, to seize my own, my truth, betrothed love, and now my wife? But let the laws of Rome determine all. Meanwhile, I am possessed of that is mine.
Is good, sir. You are very short with us, but if we live, we'll be as sharp with you.
My lord, what I have done as best I may, answer I must, and shall do with my life. Only thus much I give your grace to know. By all the duties that I owe to Rome, this noble gentleman, Lord Titus, here is in opinion and in honor wronged, that in the rescue of Lavinia with his own hand did slay his youngest son in zeal to you, and highly moved to wrath to be controlled, and that he frankly gave. Receive him then to favor Saturnine, that hath expressed himself in all his deeds, a father and a friend to thee and Rome.
Prince Bassianus, leave to plead my deeds. 'Tis thou and those that have dishonoured me. Rome and the righteous heavens be my judge, how I have loved and honoured Saturnine.
My worthy lord, if ever Tamara were gracious in those princely eyes of thine, then hear me speak indifferently for all, and that my suit, sweet, pardon what is past.
Madam, be dishonored openly and basely put it up without revenge?
So, my lord, the gods of Rome forfend, I should be author to dishonour you. But in mine honour, dare I undertake Lord Titus's innocence in all. His fury not dissembled speaks his grief, then at my suit look graciously on him. Lose not so noble a friend on vain purpose, nor with sour look afflict his gentle heart. Be one at last. Dissemble all your griefs and discontent. You are but newly planted in your throne. Lest then the people and patricians too, upon a just survey takes Titus's part, and so supplant you for ingratitude, which Rome reputes to be a heinous sin. Yield at entreats, and then let me alone. I'll find a day, massacre them all, and raise their faction and their family. The cruel father and his traitorous sons, to whom I sued for my dear son's life, and make them know what 'tis to let a queen kneel in the streets and beg for grace in vain. Come, sweet emperor. Come, Andronicus, take up this good old man and cheer the heart that dies in tempest of thy angry frown.
Rise, Titus, rise. My empress hath prevailed.
I thank your majesty, and her, my lord. These words, these looks infuse new life in me.
Titus, I am incorporate in Rome, a Roman now adopted happily. This day all quarrels die, Andronicus. Let it be mine honour, good my lord, that I have reconciled your friends and you. You, Prince Bassianus, I have passed my word and promise to the emperor, that you will be more mild and tractable. And fear not, lords, that you, Lavinia, my advice, all humbled on your knees, you shall ask pardon of his majesty.
Do and vow to heaven and to his highness that what we did was mildly as we might, tendering our sister's honor and our own.
That on mine honor. Here I do protest.
Wayne, talk not, trouble us no more.
Nay, sweet emperor, we must all be friends. The tribune and his nephews kneel for grace. I will not be denied. Sweetheart, look back.
Marcus, for thy sake and thy brothers here, and at my lovely Tamara's entreats, I do remit these young men's heinous faults. Stand up. Lavinia, though you left me like a churl, I found a friend. And sure as death, I swore I would not part a bachelor from the priest. Come, if the emperor's court can feast 2 brides, you are my guest, Lavinia, and your friends. This day shall be a love day, Tamara.
Tomorrow, when it please your majesty to hunt the panther and the hart with me, with horn and hound, will give your grace bonjour.
Be it so, Titus, and gramercy, too.
Now climbeth Tamara Olympus' top, safe out of fortune's shot, and sits aloft, secure of thunder's crack or lightning flash, advanced above pale envy's threatening reach, as when the golden sun salutes the morn, and, having gilt the ocean with his beams, gallops the zodiac in his glistering coach, and overlooks the highest peering hills. So Tamara. Then Aaron, arm thy heart, and fit thy thoughts to mount aloft with thy imperial mistress, and mount her pitch, whom thou in triumph long hast prisoner held, fettered in amorous chains. Away with slavish weeds and servile thoughts. I will be bright and shine in pearl and gold, to wait upon this new-made empress. To wait, said I? To wanton with this queen, this siren that will charm Rome's Saturnine and see his shipwreck and his commonweals. Hello, what storm is this?
Siren, thy years, thy wit wants edge and manners to intrude where I am graced, and may for aught thou knowest affected be.
Demetrius, thou dost overween in all, and so in this, to bear me down with braves, 'tis not the difference of a year or two makes me less gracious, or thee more fortunate. I am as able and as fit as thou to serve and to deserve my mistress' grace, and that my sword upon thee shall prove, and plead my passions for Lavinia's love.
Clubs, these lovers will not keep the peace. Why, how now, lords? So near the emperor's palace dare you draw, and maintain such a quarrel openly? Full well I wot the ground of all this grudge. I would not, for 1,000,000 of gold, the cause were known to them it most concerns. Nor would your noble mother, for much more, be so dishonored in the court of Rome. For shame! Put up!
Not till I have sheathed my rapier in his bosom, and withal thrust these reproachful speeches down his throat, that he hath breathed in my dishonor here.
That I am prepared and full resolved, foul-spoken coward that thunderest with thy tongue, and with thy weapon nothing darest perform.
Away, I say! Now, by the gods that warlike Goth adore, this petty brabble will undo us all. Why, lords, and think you not how dangerous it is to jet upon a prince's right? What, is Lavinia then to become so loose, or Bassianus so degenerate, that for her love such quarrels may be broached without controlment, justice, or revenge? Young lords, beware, and should the empress know this discord's ground, the music would not please.
I care not. I knew she and all the world. I love Lavinia more than all the world.
Youngling, learn thou to make some meaner choice. Lavinia is thine elder brother's hope.
I tell you, lords, you do but plot your deaths by this device.
And 1,000 deaths would I propose to achieve her whom I love.
To achieve her? How?
Why makest thou it so strange? She is a woman, therefore may be wooed. She is a woman, therefore may be won. She is Lavinia, therefore must be loved.
Why then it seems some certain snatch or so would serve your turns.
Aye, so the turn were served.
Aaron, thou hast hit it.
Would you had hit it too? Would it offend you then that both should speed?
Faith, not me.
Nor me, so I were one.
For shame. Be friends and join for that you jar. My lords, a solemn hunting is in hand. There will the lovely Roman ladies troop. The forest walks are wide and spacious, and many unfrequented plots there are, fitted by kind for rape and villainy. Single you thither then this dainty doe, and strike her home by force, if not by words. This way, or not at all, stand you in hope. Come, our empress with her sacred wit to villainy and vengeance consecrate. We will acquaint with all that we intend. These woods are ruthless, dreadful, deaf, and dull. There speak and strike, brave boys, and take your turns. There serve your lusts, shadowed from heaven's eye, and revel in Lavinia's treasury.
The hunt is up, the morn is bright and grey, the fields are fragrant and the woods are green. Sons, let it be your charge, as it is ours, to attend the Emperor's person carefully. I've been troubled in my sleep this night, but dawning day new comfort hath inspired. Many good morrows to your majesty. Madam, to you as many and as good. I promised your grace a hunter's peal.
You have rung it lustily, my lord, somewhat too early for new married ladies.
Oh, Lavinia, how say you?
I say no, I have been brought awake for 2 hours and more.
Come on then, horse and chariots let us have into our sport. Madam, now you shall see our Roman hunting.
Sharon, we hunt not, we with horse nor hound, but hope to pluck a dainty doe to ground.
He had that wit would think that I had none, to bury so much gold under a tree, and never after to inherit it. Let him that thinks of me so abjectly know that this gold must coin a stratagem, which, cunningly effected, will beget a very excellent piece of villainy. And so, repose, sweet gold, for their unrest, that have their alms out for the emperor's chests.
My lovely Aaron, wherefore look'st thou sad, when everything doth make a gleeful boast? We may, each wreathed in each other's arms, our pastimes done, possess a golden slumber, whiles hounds and horns and sweet melodious birds be unto us as is a nurse's song of lullaby to bring her babe to sleep.
Madam, though Venus govern your desires, Saturn is dominator over mine. Vengeance is in my heart, death in my hand, blood and revenge are hammering in my head. Hark, Tamara, the empress of my soul, which never hopes more heaven than rests in thee. This is the day of doom for Bassianus. His Philomel must lose her tongue today. Thy sons make pillage of her chastity, and wash their hands in Bassianus' blood. Seest thou this letter? Take it up, I pray thee, and give the king this fatal plotted scroll. Now, question me no more. We are espied. Here comes a parcel of our hopeful booty, which dreads not yet their lives' destruction.
Ah, my sweet more, sweeter to me than life.
No more, great empress. Bassianus comes. Be cross with him. I'll go fetch thy sons to back thy quarrels, whatsoe'er they be.
Oh, who have we here? Rome's royal empress. unfurnished of her well-beseeming troop, or, is it Diane, habited like her, who hath abandoned her holy groves to see the general hunting in this forest?
Had I the power that some say Diane had, thy temple should be planted presently, with horns as was Actaeon's, and the hound should drive upon thy new transformed limbs, unmannerly intruder as thou art.
Under your patience, gentle empress, 'tis thought you have a goodly gift in horning, and to be doubted that your Moor and you are singled forth to try experiments. Jove shield your husband from his hounds today. 'Tis pity they should take him for a stag.
Why are you sequestered from all your train and wandered hither to an obscure plot, accompanied but with a barbarous Moor, if foul desire had not conducted you?
And being intercepted in your sport, great reason that my noble lord be rated for sauciness. I pray you, let us hence, and let our joy be raven-colored love. This valley fits the purpose passing well.
Oh, the king my brother shall have note of this.
Aye, for these slips have made him noted long. Good king to be so mightily abused.
Why have I a patience to endure all this?
How now, dear sovereign and our gracious mother? Why doth your highness look so pale, and when?
Have I not reason, think you, to look pale? These two have placed me hither to this place. A barren, detested vale, you see it is. The trees, though summer, yet the lawn and lean, overcome with moss and baleful mistletoe. Here never shines the sun. Here nothing breeds, unless the nightly owl or fatal raven. When they showed me this abhorred pit, they told me here at the dead time of night, 1,000 fiends, 1,000 hissing snakes, 10,000 swelling toads, as many urchins would make such fearful and confused cries, as any mortal body hearing it should straight fall mad or else die suddenly. No sooner had they told this hellish tale, but straight they told me they would bind me here unto the body of a dismal ewe and leave me to this miserable death. And then they called me foul, adulterous, lascivious Goth, and all the bitterest terms that ever ear did hear to such effect. And had you not, by wondrous fortune come, this vengeance on me, had they executed, revenge it as you love your mother's life, or be ye not henceforth called my children.
This is a witness that I am thy son.
And this for me, struck home to show my strength.
Give me your poniard. You shall know, my boys, your mother's hand shall right your mother's wrong.
Stay, madam. Here's more belongs to her. First thrash the corn, then after burn the straw. This minion stood upon her chastity, upon her nuptial vow, her loyalty, and with that painted hope braves your mightiness. And shall she carry this under her grave?
If she do, I would I were an eunuch. Drag hence her husband to some secret hole and make his dead trunk pillow to our lust.
But when ye have honey you desire, let not this wasp outlive us both to sting.
I warrant you, madam, we will, I make that sure. Come, mistress, and now perforce we will enjoy that nice, preserved honesty of yours.
Oh, Tamara, thou bear'st a woman's face.
I will not hear her speak. Away with her.
Sweet lords, entreat her, hear me but a word.
Listen, fair madam, let it be your glory to see her tears, but be your heart to them as unrelenting flint to drops of rain.
When did the tiger's young ones teach the dam? Oh, do not learn her wrath. She taught it thee. The milk thou suck'st from her did turn to marble. Even if thou teared hadst thy tyranny, yet every mother breeds not sons alike. Do thou entreat her, show a woman pity?
Well, wouldst thou have me prove myself a bastard?
'Tis true, the raven doth not hatch a lark. Some say that ravens foster forlorn children whilst their birds famish in their nests. Oh, be to me thy hard heart say no. Nothing so kind, but something pitiful.
I know not what it means. Away with her.
Oh, let me teach thee. For my father's sake that gave thee life when he might have well have slain thee. Be not obdurate. Open thy deaf ears.
Hadst thou in person ne'er offended me, even for his sake I am pitiless. Remember, boys, I poured forth tears in vain to save your brother from the sacrifice, but fierce Andronicus would not relent. Therefore, away with her, and use her as you will. Worse to her, the better loved of me.
Oh, Tamara, be called a gentle queen, and with thine own hands kill me in this place. For 'tis not a life that I have begged so long, for I was slain when Bassianus died.
What beggest thou then? Woman, let me go.
The present death I beg, and one thing more, that womanhood denies my tongue to tell. Oh, keep me from their worse than killing lust, and tumble me into some loathsome pit, where never man's eye may behold my body. Do this, and be a charitable murderer.
So should I rob my sweet sons of their fee? No, let them satisfy their lust on thee.
Away, for thou hast stayed us here too long.
Oh, Grace, no womanhood. Oh, beastly creature, the blot and enemy of our general name, confusion foe.
Nay, then I'll stop your mouth. Bring thou her husband. This is the hole where Aaron bid us hide him.
Farewell, my sons. See that you make her sure, ne'er let my heart no merry cheer indeed. All the Andronici be made away. Now will I hence to seek my lovely Moor, and let my spleenful sons this trull flower.
Come, my lords, the better foot before. Straight will I bring you to the loathsome pit where I espied the panther fast asleep.
My sight is very dull, whate'er it bodes.
And mine, I promise you. Were not for the shame, well could I leave our sport to sleep a while. What?
What? Art thou fallen? God, what subtle hole is this, whose mouth is covered over with rude growing briars, upon whose leaves are drops of new-shed blood, fresh as morning dew distilled on flowers? A very fatal place, it seems to me. Speak, speak, brother! Hast thou hurt thee with thy fall?
Oh, brother, with the dismal object hurt that ever I with sight made heart lament.
Now will I fetch the king to find them here, that he thereby may give a likely guess how these were they that made away his brother.
Why dost thou not comfort me and help me out from this unhallowed and blood-stained hole?
I'm surprised with an uncouth fear. A chilling sweat o'erruns my trembling joints. My heart suspects more than mine eye can see.
Look, Basinius lies embruined here, all on a heap like a slaughtered lamb in this detested, dark, blood-drinking pit. Oh, brother, help me with my fainting hand, get out of this foul, devouring receptacle.
Reach me thy hand that I may help thee out, or wanting the strength to do thee so much good, I may be plucked into the swallowing womb of this deep pit, poor Bassianus' grave. I have no strength to pluck thee to the brink.
Nor I no strength to climb without thy help.
Okay, thy hand once more, and I will not lose again, till thou art here aloft, or I below. Oh, thou canst not come to me. I come to thee!
Yeah!
Along with me, see what hole is here, and what he is that now has leaped into it. Say, what art thou that lately didst descend into the escaping hollow of the earth?
The unhappy son of old Andronicus, brought hither in a most unlucky hour to find thy brother Basinius dead.
My brother dead? I know thou dost but jest. I have a missed call here late of him. He and his lady both are at the lodge upon the north side of the pleasant chase. 'Tis not an hour since I left him there.
We know not where you left him all alive, but out, alas, here have we found him dead.
Where is the Lord, my king?
Dear Tamara, though grieved with killing grief.
Where is thy brother Bassianus?
Down to the bottom dost thou search my wound. Poor Bassianus here lies murdered.
All too late I bring this fateful writ, this plot of his timeless tragedy, and wonder greatly that man's face can fold in pleasing smiles such murderous tyranny.
And if we miss to meet him handsomely, sweet huntsman, Bassianus 'tis we mean, do thou so much as dig the grave for him. Thou knowst our meaning. Look for thy reward among the nettles at the elder tree, which overshades the mouth of that same pit where we decreed to bury Bassianus. Do this, and purchase us thy lasting friends. Oh, Tamar, was ever heard the like? This is the pit, and this the elder tree. Look, sirs, if you can find the huntsman out that should have murdered Bassianus here.
My gracious lord, here is the bag of gold.
2 of thy whelps, fell curs of bloody kind, have here bereft my brother of his life. Sirs, drag them from the pit unto the prison, and let them bide until we have devised some never heard of torturing pain for them.
What, they in this pit? A wondrous thing! How easily murder is discovered!
I, Emperor, upon my feeble knee, I beg this boon, with tears not lightly shed, that this fell fault of my accursed sons, accursed if the fault be proved in them.
If it be proved. You see, it is apparent! Who found this letter? Tamar, was it you?
Andronicus himself did take it up.
I did, my lord, yet let me be their bail. For by my father's reverend tomb, I vow they shall be ready at your highness' will to answer their suspicion with their lives.
Shalt not bail then. See thou follow me. Some bring the murdered bodies, some the murderers. Let them not speak a word. The guilt is plain. For by my soul, were there worse end than death, that end upon them should be executed.
Andronicus, I will entreat the king. Fear not thy sons, they shall do well.
Come, Lucius, come. Stay not to talk with them.
So, now go tell, and if thy tongue can speak, who 'twas that cut thy tongue and ravished thee.
Write down thy mind, bewray thy meaning so, and if thy stumps will let thee play the scribe.
See how with signs and tokens she can scrowl.
Oh, go home for sweet water, wash thy hands.
She hath no tongue to call, nor hands to wash. And so let's leave her to her silent walks.
And were my case, I should go hang myself.
Thou hadst hands to help thee knit the cord.
Who is this? My niece? That flies away so fast? Cousin, a word, where is your husband? If I do dream, would all my wealth would wake me. If I do wake, some planet strike me down, that I may slumber in eternal sleep. Speak, gentle niece. What stern, ungentle hands have lopped and hewed and made thy body bare of her 2 branches? Why dost thou now speak to me? Alas, a crimson river of warm blood, like a bubbling fountain stirred with wind, doth rise and fall between thy rosed lips, coming and going like thy honey breath. But be sure, some terrors hath devoured thee, and lest thou shouldest detect him, cut thy tongue. Oh, that I knew thy heart, and knew the beast, that I might rail at him to ease my mind. Sorrow concealed like an oven stopped doth burn the heart to cinders where it is. Come, 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 let us go, and make thy fathers blind. For such a sight will blind a father's eye. 1 hour's storm will drown the fragment meads. What will whole months of tears thy father's eyes? Do not draw back, for we will mourn with thee. Oh, could our mourning ease thy misery?
Hear me, grave fathers, noble tribunes, stay! For pity of mine age, whose youth was spent in dangerous wars, whilst you securely slept. For all my blood in Rome's great quarrel shed, and for these bitter tears, which now you see, filling the aged wrinkles in my cheeks, be pitiful to my condemned sons, whose souls are not corrupted as 'tis thought. For 22 sons I never wept, because they died in honour's lofty bed. For these tribunes, in the dust I write my heart's deep languor and my soul's sad tears. Let my tears stench the earth's dry appetite. My son's sweet blood will make it shame and blush. Oh, earth, I will befriend thee more with rain that shall distill from these two ancient urns than youthful April shall with all his showers. In summer's drought I'll drop upon thee still. In winter with warm tears I'll melt the snow and keep eternal springtime on thy face, so thou refuse to drink my dear son's blood. O reverend tribunes! O gentle aged men! Unbind my sons, reverse the doom of death, and let me say that never wept before, my tears are now prevailing orators.
Noble father, you lament in vain, and tribunes hear you not. No man is by, and you recount your sorrows to a stone.
Ah, Lucius, for thy brothers let me plead. Brave tribunes, once more I entreat of you.
My gracious lord, no tribune hears you speak.
That is no matter, man. If they did hear, they would not mark me, or if they did mark, they would not pity me. Yet plead I must. Therefore I tell my sorrows to the stones. Although they cannot answer my distress, yet in some sort they are better than the tribunes, for that they will not intercept my tale. A stone is soft as wax, tribunes more hard than stones. A stone is silent and offendeth not, and tribunes with their tongues doom men to death. But wherefore standst thou with thy weapon drawn?
To rescue my two brothers from their death, for which attempt the judges have pronounced my everlasting doom of banishment.
Oh, happy man, they have befriended thee. Why, foolish Lucius, dost thou not perceive that Rome is but a wilderness of tigers? Tigers must prey, and Rome affords no prey but me and mine. How happy art thou then, from these devourers to be banished? But who comes with our brother Marcus here?
Titus, prepare thy aged eyes to weep, for if not so thy noble heart to break, I bring consuming sorrow to thine age.
Will it consume me? Let me see it then.
This was thy daughter.
Why, Marcus, so she is.
I be this object kills me.
Faint-hearted boy, arise and look upon her. Speak, Lavinia, what accursed hand hath made thee handless in thy father's sight? My grief was at the height before thou camest, and now, like Nilus, it disdaineth bounds. Give me my sword, I'll chop off my hands too, for they have fought for Rome, and all in vain. In bootless prayer they have been held up, and they have served me to effectless use. Now all the service I require of them is that the one will help to cut the other. 'Tis well, Lavinia, that thou hast no hands, for hands to do Rome's service are but vain.
Speak, gentle sister, who hath martyred thee?
Oh, that delightful engine of her thoughts that blabbered them with such pleasing eloquence is torn from forth that pretty hollow cage where, like a sweet melodious bird, it sung sweet varied notes, enchanting every ear.
Oh, say thou for her, who hath done this deed?
Oh, thus I found her, straying in the park, seeing to hide herself, as doth the deer that hath received some unrecurring wound.
It was my dear, and he that hath wounded her hath hurt me more than had he killed me dead. For now I stand as one upon a rock, environed with a wilderness of sea, who marks the waxing tide grow wave by wave, expecting ever when some envious surge will in his brinish bowels swallow him. This way to death my wretched sons are gone. Here stands my other son, a banished man, and here my brother, weeping at my woes. But that which gives my soul the greatest spurn is dear Lavinia, dearer than my soul. Had I but seen thy picture in this plight, it would have maddened me. What shall I do now I behold thy lively body so? Thou hast no hands to wipe away thy tears, nor tongue to tell me who hath martyred thee. Thy husband, he is dead, and for his death thy brothers are condemned and dead by this. Gentle Lavinia, let me kiss thy lips, or make some sign how I may do thee ease. Shall thy good uncle and thy brother Lucius and thou and I sit round about some fountain? And in the fountain shall we gaze so long, till the fresh taste be taken from that clearness, and made a brine pit with our bitter tears. Or shall we cut away our hands like thine? Or shall we bite our tongues and in dumb shows pass the remainder of our hateful days? What shall we do?
Titus Andronicus, my lord the emperor sends thee this word, that if thou love thy sons, let Marcus, Lucius, or thyself, old Titus, or any one of you, chop off your hand and send it to the king. He for the same will send thee hither both thy sons alive, and that shall be the ransom for their fault.
With all my heart I'll send the emperor my hand. Good Aaron, wilt thou help to chop it off?
No, stay, father, for that noble hand of thine hath thrown down so many enemies shall not be sent. My hand will serve the turn.
My hand hath but been idle. Let it serve to ransom my 2 nephews from their death. Then have I kept it to a worthy end.
Nay, come, agree whose hand shall go along, for fear they die before their pardon come.
My hand shall go.
By heaven, it shall not go.
Agree between you. I will spare my hand.
Then I'll go fetch an axe.
But I will use the axe.
Come hither, Aaron. I'll deceive them both. Lend me thy hand, and I will give thee mine.
If that be called deceit, I will be honest, and never whilst I live deceive men so. But I'll deceive you in another sort, and that you'll say ere half an hour pass.
Now, stay your strife. What shall be is dispatched. Good Aaron, give his majesty my hand. As for my sons, say I account of them as jewels purchased at an easy price, and yet dear too, because I bought mine own.
I go, Andronicus, and for thy hand look by and by to have thy sons with thee. Their heads, I mean. Oh, how this villainy doth fat me with the very thoughts of it. Let fools do good, and fair men call for grace. Aaron will have his soul black like his face.
Oh, here I lift this one hand up to heaven, and bow this feeble ruin to the earth. If any power pities wretched tears, to that I call. What, wilt thou kneel with me? Do then, dear heart, for heaven shall hear our prayers.
Worthy Andronicus, ill art thou repaid for that good hand that thou sent'st the emperor. These are the heads of thy 2 noble sons, and here's the hand in scorn to thee sent back. Thy griefs their sport, thy resolution mocked. That woe is me to think upon thy woes more than remembrance of my father's death.
Why dost thou laugh? It fits not with this hour.
Why, I have not another tear to shed. Besides, this sorrow is an enemy, and would usurp upon my watery eyes, and make them blind with tributary tears. Then which way shall I find revenge's cave? But these 2 heads do seem to speak to me, and threat me, as I shall never come to bliss, till all these mischiefs be returned again, even in their throats that have committed them. Come, let me see what task I have to do. You, heavy people, circle me about, that I may turn me to each one of you, and swear unto my soul to right your wrongs. The vow is made. Come, brother, take a head, and in this hand the other I will bear. Lavinia, thou shalt be employed. These arms, bear thou my hand, sweet wench, between thy teeth. As for thee, boy, go, get thee from my sight. Thou art an exile, and thou must not stay. Hie to the Goths, and raise an army there. And if you love me, as I think you do, let's kiss and part, for we have much to do.
Farewell, Andronicus, my noble father. Farewell, proud Rome. Till Lucius come again, farewell, Lavinia, my noble sister. But now nor Lucius nor Lavinia lives, but in oblivion and hateful griefs. If Lucius live, he will requite your wrongs. Now will I to the Goths and raise a power to be revenged on Rome and Saturnine.
So, now, sit and look you eat no more than will preserve just so much strength in us as will revenge these bitter woes of ours. Marcus, unknit that sorrow-wreathen knot. Thy niece and I, poor creatures, want our hands, and cannot passionate our tenfold grief with folded arms. Whoa, what dost thou strike at, Marcus, with thy knife?
At that I have killed my lord. Fly.
Out on thee, murderer! Thou kill'st my heart. A deed of death done on the innocent becomes not Titus, brother. Get thee gone. I see thou art not for my company.
Alas, my lord, I have but killed a fly.
But how if that fly had a father and a mother? How would he hang his slender gilded wings and buzz lamenting doings in the air? Poor harmless fly, that with his pretty buzzing melody came here to make us merry, and thou hast killed him.
Oh, pardon me, sir. It was all black, ill-favored fly, like to the Empress more, and therefore I killed him.
Then pardon me for reprehending thee, for thou hast done a charitable deed. Give me thy knife, I will insult on him, flattering myself as if it were the Moor come hither purposely to poison me. There's for thyself, that's for Tamara. Ah, Sirrah, yeah, I think we are not brought so low, but that between us we can kill a fly that comes in likeness of a coal-black Moor.
Alas, poor man, grief has so wrought on him. He takes false shadows for true substances. What means my niece Lavinia by these signs?
How now, Lavinia? Marcus, what means this? Some book there is that she desires to see? Which is it, girl, of these? Open them, boy, now. But thou art deeper read and better skilled. Come, and take choice of all my library, and so beguile thy sorrow till the heavens reveal the damned contriver of this deed. Why lifts she up her arms in sequence thus?
I think she means that there was more than one confederate in the fact. More there was, or else to heaven she heaves them for revenge.
Soft. See how busily she turns the leaves. What would she find? Lavinia, shall I read? This is the tragic tale of Philomel, and treats of Tereus' treason and his rape, and rape, I fear, was root of thine annoy. Give sign, sweet girl, for here are none but friends. What Roman lord it was durst do the deed?
My lord, look here. Look here, Lavinia. This sandy plot is plain. Guide, if thou canst this after me, when I have writ my name, without the help of any hand at all. Cursed be that heart that forced us to the shift. Write thou, good niece, and here display at last what God will have discovered for revenge. Heaven guide thy pen to print thy sorrows plain, that we may know the traitors and the truth.
Or do you read, my lord, what she hath writ? Stop from Chiron, Demetrius.
What? The lustful sons of Tamar? Performers of this heinous bloody deed? There is enough written upon this earth to stir a mutiny in the mildest thoughts, and on the minds of infants to exclaims, my lord, kneel down with me, Lavinia, kneel and swear with me, that we will prosecute by good advice mortal revenge upon these traitorous Goths, and see their blood or die with this reproach.
'Tis sure enough, and you knew how. But if you hunt these bare whelps, then beware, the dam will wake. She's with the lion deeply still in league, and lulls him whilst she playeth on her back. And when he sleeps, will she do what she list? You're a young huntsman, Marcus, let it alone. And come, I'll go get a leaf of brass, and with a gad of steel will write these words and lay it by. The angry northern wind will blow these sands like Sybil's leaves abroad.
Oh, heavens, can you hear a good man groan and not relent or not compassion him? Marcus, attend him in his ecstasy, that hath more scars of sorrow in his heart than foeman's marks upon his battered shield, but yet so just that he will not revenge. Revenge, ye heavens, for old Andronicus.
Demetrius, here's the messenger of Titus. He hath some message to deliver us?
My lords, with all the humbleness I may, I greet your honors from Andronicus, and pray the Roman gods confound you both. Now, Titus, well advised, hath sent by me the goodliest weapons of his armory to gratify your honorable youth, the hope of Rome, for so he bade me say, and so I do. And with his gifts present your lordships, that whenever you have need, you may be armed and appointed well, and so I leave you both, like bloody villains.
It's here. A scroll written roundabout. Let's see. Integer vitae scelerisque purus non iget mauri jaculis nec arcu.
Oh, is this a verse in Horace? I know it well. I read it in the grammar long ago.
Aye, just a verse in Horace, right? You have it. Now, what a thing it is to be an ass. Here's no sound jest. The old man hath found their guilt, and sends them weapons wrapped about with lines that wound beyond their feeling to the quick. But were our witty empress well afoot, she would applaud Andronicus' conceit. But let her rest in her unrest a while.
Let us go and pray to all the gods for our beloved mother in her pains.
Pray to the devils the gods have given us over.
Why do the emperor's trumpets flourish thus?
Belike for joy the emperor hath a son.
Soft, who comes here?
Good morrow, lords. Tell me, did you see Aaron the Moor?
Well, more or less, or ne'er a whit at all. Here Aaron is. And what with Aaron now?
Gentle Aaron, we are all undone. Now help or woe betide thee evermore.
Why, what a caterwauling dost thou keep? What dost thou wrap and fumble in thine arms?
Oh, that which I would hide from heaven's eye, our empress's shame and stately Rome's disgrace. She's delivered, Lord, she is delivered.
Well, God give her good rest. What hath he sent her?
Joyless, dismal, black and sorrowful issue. Here is the babe, as loathsome as a toad amongst the fairest breeders of our clime. The empress sends it to thee, thy stamp, thy seal, and bids thee christen it with thy dagger's point.
Zounds, ye whore! Is black so base a hue? Sweet blouse, you are a beauty as blossom, sure.
Villain, what hast thou done?
That which thou canst not undo.
Thou hast undone our mother.
Villain, I have done thy mother.
And therein, hellish dog, thou hast undone. Woe to her chance and damned her loathed choice. Accursed the offspring of so foul a fiend.
It shall not live.
It shall not die.
Aaron, it must. The mother wills it so.
What must it, nurse? Then let no man but I do execution on my flesh and blood.
I'll broach the tadpole on my rapier's point. Nurse, give it me, my sword shall soon dispatch it.
Sooner this sword shall plough thy bowels up. Stay, murderous villains. Will you kill your brother? He dies upon my scimitar's sharp point that touches this, my firstborn son and heir. Coal black is better than another hue in that it scorns to bear another hue, for all the water in the ocean can never turn the swan's black legs to white, although she lave them hourly in the flood. Tell the empress from me I am of age to keep mine own. Excuse it how she can.
Wilt thou betray thy noble mistress thus?
My mistress is my mistress, this myself, the vigor and the picture of my youth. This before all the world do I prefer, this maugre all the world will I keep safe, or some of you shall smoke for it in Rome.
By this our mother is forever shamed.
Rome will despise her for this foul escape.
The emperor, in his rage, will doom her to death.
I blush to think upon this ignominy.
Why, there's the privilege of your beauty bears. Fie, treacherous hue that will betray with blushing the close acts and counsels of the heart. Here's a young lad framed of another leer. Look how the black slave smiles upon the father, as who should say, Old lad, I am thine own. Here is your brother, lords, sensibly fed of that self-same blood that first gave life to you. And from that womb where you imprisoned were, he is enfranchised and come to light. Nay, he is your brother by the surer side, although my seal be stamped in his face.
Aaron, what shall I say unto the empress?
Advise thee, Aaron, what is to be done, and we will all subscribe to thy advice. Save thou the child, so we may all be safe.
Then sit we down, and let us all consult. My son and I will have the wind of you. Keep there. Now talk at pleasure of your safety.
How many women saw this child of his?
Cornelia the midwife and myself, and no one else but the delivered empress.
The empress, the midwife, and yourself. Two may keep counsel when the third's away. Go to the empress. Tell her this, I said. Weak! So cries a pig prepared to the spit.
What meanest thou, Aaron? Wherefore didst thou this?
Oh, Lord, sir, 'tis a deed of policy. Shall she live to betray this guilt of ours, a long-tongued babbling gossip? Lords, no, no, and now it be known to you my full intent. Not far, one Muley lives, my countryman. His wife but yesternight was brought to bed. His child is like to her, fair as you are. Go pack with him, and give the mother gold, and tell them both the circumstance of all, and how by this their child shall be advanced, and be received for the emperor's heir, and substituted in place of mine to calm this tempest whirling in the court, and let the emperor dandle him for his own. Hark ye, lords, ye see I have given her physic, and you must needs bestow her funeral. The fields are near, and you are gallant grooms. This done, see that you take no longer days, but send the midwife presently to me. The midwife and the nurse well made away, then let the ladies tattle what they please.
Aaron, I see thou wilt not trust the air with secret.
For this care of Tamara, herself and hers are highly bound to thee.
Now to the Goths, as swift as swallow flies, there to dispose this treasure in mine arms, for it is you that puts us to our shifts. I'll make you feed on berries and on roots, and feed on curds and whey, and suck the goat, and cabin in a cave, and bring you up to be a warrior and command a camp.
Come, Marcus, come, kinsman, this is the way. Look ye, draw home enough, and 'tis there, straight. Terras Astrea reliquit. Be ye remembered, Marcus, she's gone, she's fled. Go, get you gone, and pray be careful all, and leave you not a man of war unsearched. This wicked emperor may have shipped her hence, and kinsman, then we may go pipe for justice.
Kinsmen, his sorrows are past remedy. Join with the Goths, and with revengeful war take wreak on Rome for this ingratitude, and vengeance on the traitor Saturnine.
Come to this gear. You're a good archer, Marcus. Ad Jovem, that's for you. Ad Apollinem, ad Martem, here. Oh, that's for myself. Yeah, here, you to Pallas, here, ooh, to Mercury, to Saturn, Caius, not to Saturnine. You're as good to shoot against the wind. To it then, Marcus, loose when I bid. Of my word I have written to effect. There's not a god left unsolicited.
Kinsmen, shoot all your shafts into the court. We will afflict the emperor in his pride.
Now, masters, draw!
All right! Wrongs are these. Has ever seen an emperor in Rome thus overborne? Troubled, confronted thus, and for the accident of eagle justice used in such contempts. My lords, you know, as know the mightful gods, however these disturbers of our peace buzz in the people's ear, there not hath passed, but even with the law, against the willful sons of old Andronicus. And what and if his sorrows have so overwhelmed his wits, shall we be thus afflicted in his wrecks, his fits, his frenzy, and his bitterness? And now he writes to heaven for his redress. A goodly humor, is it not, my lords, as who should say in Rome no justice were, but if I live, his feigned ecstasies shall be no shelter to these outrages, but he and his shall know that justice lives in Saturninus' health, whom, if she sleep, I will to...
Lord, my lovely Saturnine, Lord of my life, commander of my thoughts, calm thee, and bear the faults of Titus's age, the effects of sorrow for his valiant son.
Despiteful and intolerable wrongs. Shall I endure this monstrous villainy? Go, drag the villain hither by the hair. Nor age nor honor shall shape privilege. For this proud mock I'll be thy slaughterman, thy frantic wretch that hopes to make me great and hope thyself should govern Rome and me. Oh, what news with thee, Emilius?
Arm, my lord. Rome never had more cause. The Goths have gathered head, and with a power high resolved men bent to the spoil, they hither march amain, under construct of Lucius, son to old Andronicus, who threats in course of this revenge to do as much as ever Coriolanus did.
His warlike Lucius, general of the Goths. These tidings nip me, and I hang the head as flowers with frost or grass beat down with storms. Aye. Now begin our sorrows to approach. 'Tis he, the common people, love so much, and they have wished that Lucius were their emperor.
Why should you fear? Is not your city strong?
Aye, but the citizens favor Lucius, and will revolt from me to succor him.
King, thy thoughts imperious like thy name. Is the sun dimmed that gnats do fly in it? The eagle suffers little birds to sing, and is not careful what they mean thereby, knowing that with the shadow of his wings he can at pleasure stint their melody. Even so mayest thou, the giddy men of Rome. And cheer thy spirit, for know, thou emperor, I will enchant the old Andronicus with words more sweet and yet more dangerous than baits to fish or honey stalks to sheep, when as the one is wounded with the bait, the other rotted with delicious feed.
But he will not entreat his son for us.
If Tamara entreat him, then he will. For I can smooth and fill his aged ear with golden promises. Were his heart almost impregnable, his old ears deaf, yet should both ear and heart obey my tongue. Go thou before, be our ambassadors. Say that the emperor requests a parley of warlike Lucius, and appoint the meeting even at his father's house, the old Andronicus.
Your bidding shall I do effectually.
Now will I to that old Andronicus, and temper him with all the art I have, pluck proud Lucius from the warlike Goths. And now, sweet emperor, blithe again, and bury all thy fear in my devices.
And go successantly and plead to him.
Approved warriors and my faithful friends, I have received letters from great Rome which signify what hate they bear their emperor and how desirous of our sight they are. Therefore, great lords, be, as your titles witness, imperious and impatient of your wrongs.
Renowned Lucius, From our troops I strayed to gaze upon a ruinous monastery, and as I earnestly did fix mine eye upon the wasted building, suddenly I heard a child cry underneath a wall. I made unto the noise, where soon I heard the crying babe controlled with this discourse. Peace, tawny slave, half me and half thy dam. Did not thy hue belie those whose brat thou art? Had nature lent thee but thy mother's look, villain, thou mightst have been an emperor. With this, my weapon drawn, I rushed upon him, surprised him suddenly, and brought him hither to use as you think needful of the man.
Oh, worthy Goth, this is the incarnate devil that robbed Andronicus of his good hand. This is the pearl that pleased your empress eye, and here's the base fruit of his burning lust. Say, wall-eyed slave, whither wouldst thou convey this growing image of thy fiend-like face? What? Oh, dost not speak a word? Oh, what the? Oh, not a word. Oh, a halter! Soldiers, hang him on this tree, and by his side his fruit of bastardy.
Touch not the boy. He is of royal blood.
Too like the sire, forever being good. First hang the child, that he may see it sprawl, a sight to vex the father's soul withal. Get me a ladder.
Lucius, save the child, and bear it from me to the empress. If thou do this, I'll show thee wondrous things that highly may advantage thee to hear. If thou wilt not, befall what may befall, I'll speak no more, but vengeance rot you all.
Say on, and if it please me which thou speaks, thy child shall live, and I will see it nourished.
And if it please thee, why, I assure thee, Lucius, 'twill vex thy soul to hear what I shall speak. For I must talk of murderers, rapes, and massacres, acts of black night, abominable deeds, complots of mischief, treason, villainies, ruthful to hear, yet piteously performed. And this shall all be buried by my death, unless thou swear to me my child shall live.
Tell on thy mind, I say thy child shall live.
Swear that he shall, and then I will begin.
Even by my God, I swear to thee, I will.
First, know thou, I begot him on the empress.
Oh, most insatiate and luxurious woman.
Tut, Lucius, this was but a deed of charity to that which thou shalt hear of me anon. 'Twas her 2 sons that murdered Bassianus. They cut thy sister's tongue and ravished her, and cut her hands and trimmed her as thou sawest.
Detestable villain, call'st thou trimming?
Why, she was washed and cut and trimmed, and 'twas trim for sport of them that had the doing of it.
Oh, barbarous, beastly villains, like thyself.
Indeed, I was their tutor to instruct them. Well, let my deeds be witness of my worth. I trained my brethren to that guileful hole where the dead corpse of Bassianus lay. I wrote the letter that thy father found, and hid the gold within the letter mentioned, confederate with the queen and her 2 sons. And what not done, that thou hast cause to rue, wherein I had no stroke of mischief in it. I played the cheater for thy father's hand, and when I had it, drew myself apart, and almost broke my heart with extreme laughter. I pried me through the crevice of a wall, when for his hand he had his 2 sons' head, beheld his tears, and laughed so heartily that both mine eyes were rainy like to his. And when I told the empress of this sport, she swooned almost at my pleasing tale, and for my tidings gave me 20 kisses.
Art thou not sorry for this heinous deed?
Aye, that I had not done 1,000 more. Even now I curse the day, and yet I think few come within the compass of my curse, wherein I did not some notorious ill as kill a man, or else devise his death, ravish a maid, or plot the way to do it, accuse some innocent, and forswear myself, set deadly enmity between 2 friends, make poor men's cattle break their necks, set fire on barns and haystacks in the night, and bid the owners quench them with their tears. Oft I have digged up dead men from their graves, and set them upright at their dear friends' doors, even when their sorrows were almost forgot. and on their skins, as on the barks of trees, have with my knife carved in Roman words, "Let not your sorrow die, though I am dead." Tut! I have done 1,000 dreadful things, as willingly as one would kill a fly. And nothing grieves me heartily indeed, but that I cannot do 10,000 more.
Bring down the devil, for he must not die so sweet a death as hanging presently.
If there be devils, would I were a devil, to live and burn in everlasting fire, so I might have your company in hell, but to torment you with my bitter tongue.
Sir, stop his mouth and let him speak no more. Ah, welcome. Emilius, what's the news from Rome?
Lord Lucius, and you princes of the Goths, the Roman emperor greets you all by me. And for he understands you are in arms, he craves a parley at your father's house, willing you to demand your hostages, and they shall be immediately delivered.
Emilius, let the emperor give his pledges unto my father and my uncle Marcus, and we will come. March! Away!
Thus, in this strange and sad habiliment, I will encounter with Andronicus, and say I am Revenge, sent from below. Tell him Revenge is come to join with him and work confusion on his enemies.
Who doth molest my contemplation?
Titus, I come to talk with thee.
No, not a word. How can I grace my talk, wanting a hand to give it action? Thou hast the odds of me, therefore no more.
If thou didst know me, thou wouldest talk with me.
I'm not mad, I know thee well enough. Witness this wretched stump. Witness these crimson lines. Witness these trenches made by grief and care. Witness the tiring day and heavy night. Witness all sorrow, that I know thee well, for our proud empress, mighty Tamara. Is not thou coming for my other hand?
No, thou sad man, I am not Tamara. He is thy enemy, and I thy friend. I am Revenge, sent from the infernal kingdom, to ease the gnawing vulture of thy mind by working wreakful vengeance on thy foes.
Art thou Revenge? And art thou sent to me to be a torment to mine enemies?
I am. Therefore come down and welcome me.
Do me some service ere I come to thee. Oh, lo, by thy side where rape and murder stands. Now, give me some assurance that thou art Revenge. Stab them, or tear them on thy chariot wheels, and then I'll come and be thy waggoner, and whirl along with thee about the globe.
These are my ministers, and come with me.
Ah, these thy ministers, what are they called?
Rapine and murder, therefore called so, because they take vengeance of such kind of men.
Good Lord, how like the Emperor's sons they are, and you the Empress. But we worldly men have miserable, mad, mistaking eyes. Long have I been forlorn, and all for thee. Welcome, dread fury, to my woeful house. Rapine, murder, you are welcome too. How like the Empress and her sons you are, but welcome as you are, what shall we do?
What wouldst thou have us do, Andronicus?
Show me a murderer, I'll deal with him.
Show me a villain that have done a rape, and I am sent to be revenged on him.
Show me 1,000 that have done thee wrong, and I will be revenged on them all.
Look round about the wicked streets of Rome, and when thou find'st a man that's like thyself, good murder, stab him. He's a murderer. Go thou with him, and when it is thy hap to find another that is like to thee, good Rapine, stab him. He's a ravisher. Go thou with them, and in the emperor's court there is a queen, attended by a Moor. Well mayst thou know her by thine own proportion, for up and down she doth resemble thee. I pray thee, do on them some violent death. They have been violent to me and mine.
Well hast thou lessoned us, and this shall we do. But would it please thee, good Andronicus, to send for Lucius, thy thrice valiant son, who leads towards Rome a band of warlike Goths, and bid him come and banquet at thy house. When he is here, even at thy solemn feast, I will bring in the empress and her sons, the emperor himself and all thy foes. And at thy mercy shalt they stoop and kneel, and on them shalt thou ease thy angry heart. What says Andronicus to this device?
Marcus, my brother, 'tis sad Titus calls. Go, gentle Marcus, to thy nephew, Lucius. Thou shalt inquire him out amongst the Goths. Bid him repair to me, and bring with him some of the chiefest princes of the Goths. Bid him encamp his soldiers where they are. Tell him the emperor and the empress too feast at my house, and he shall feast with them. This do thou for my love, and so let him, as he regards his aged father's life.
This will I do, and soon return again.
Now will I hence about thy business, and take my ministers along with me.
Oh, nay, nay, nay. Let rape and murder stay with me, or else I'll call my brother back again and cleave to no revenge but Lucius.
What say you, boys? Will you bide with him, whilst I go tell my lord the emperor how I have governed our determined jest? Yield to his humour, smooth, and speak him fair, and tarry with him till I turn again.
I know them all, though they suppose me mad, and will o'erreach them in their own devices. A pair of cursed hellhounds and their dam.
Madam, depart at pleasure, leave us here.
Farewell, Andronicus. Revenge now goes. Lay a complot to betray thy foes.
I know thou dost, and sweet revenge, farewell.
Tell us, old man, how shall we be employed?
I have work enough for you to do. Publius, come hither.
What you will?
Know you these two?
The Empress's sons, I take them. Chiron and Demetrius.
Fie, Publius, fie. Thou art much, too much deceived. No, the one is murder, and rape is the other's name, and therefore bind them, gentle Publius. Oft have you heard me wish for such an hour, and now I find it. Therefore bind them sure, and stop their mouths if they begin to cry.
Villain, forbear, we are the Empress's sons.
And therefore do I what I am commanded.
Come, come, Lavinia, look, thy foes are bound. Sir, stop their mouths, let them not speak to me, but let them hear what fearful words I utter. O villains, Chiron and Demetrius, here stands the spring whom you have stained with mud, this goodly summer with your winter mixed. You killed her husband, and for that vile fault 2 of her brothers were condemned to death. My hand cut off and made a merry jest. Both her sweet hands, her tongue, and that more dear than hands or tongue, her spotless chastity, inhuman traitors, you constrained and forced. What would you say if I should let you speak? Villains, for shame, you could not beg for grace. Hark, wretches, how I mean to martyr you. So this one hand yet is left to cut your throats, whilst that Lavinia between her stumps doth hold the basin that receives your guilty blood. You know your mother means to feast with me, and calls herself revenge, and thinks me mad. Hark, villains, I will grind your bones to dust, and with your blood and it I'll make a paste, and of the paste a coffin I will rear, and make 2 pasties of your shameful heads, and bid that strumpet, your unhallowed dam, like to the earth, swallow her own increase. This is the feast that I have bid her to, and this is the banquet she shall serve it on. And now prepare your throats. Lavinia, come. Receive the blood, and when that they are dead, let me go grind their bones to powder small, and with this hateful liquor temper it, and in that paste let their vile heads be baked. So now, bring them in, for I'll play the cook, and see them ready gainst their mother comes.
The trumpets show the emperor is at hand.
What, hath the firmament more sons than one?
What boots it thee to call thyself a son?
Rome's emperor and nephew break the parle. These quarrels must be quietly debated. The feast is ready, which the careful Titus hath ordained to be an honorable end, for peace, for love, for league, and good Rome. Please you, therefore, draw nigh. Take your places.
Marcus, we will.
Welcome, my gracious lords. Welcome, dread queen. Welcome, you warlike Goths. Welcome, Lucius. Welcome, all. Although the cheer be poor, 'twill fill your stomachs. Please you, eat of it.
What? Why are you thus attired, Andronicus?
Oh, because I would be sure to have all well to entertain your highness and your emperors.
We are beholding to you, good Andronicus.
And if your highness knew my heart, you were. My lord, the emperor, resolve me this. Was it well done of rash Virginius to slay his daughter with his own right hand because she was enforced, stained, and deflowered?
It was, my lord.
Your reason, mighty lord?
Because the girl should not survive her shame, and by her presence still renew his sorrows.
A reason mighty, strong, and effectual. A pattern precedent and lively warrant for me, most wretched, to perform the like. Die, die, Lavinia, and thy shame with thee. And with thy shame, thy father's sorrow die.
What hast thou done? Unnatural and unkind?
I've killed her, for whom my tears have made me blind. I am as woeful as Virginius was, and have 1,000 times more cause than he to do this outrage, and it now is done.
What was she ravished? Tell who did the deed.
Oh, will please you eat. Will please your highness feed.
Why hast thou slain thine only daughter thus?
Oh, not I. No, 'twas Chiron and Demetrius. They ravished her and cut away her tongue. And 'twas they that did her all this.
Go fetch them hither to us presently.
Well, no, they're there they both are, baked in that pie, whereof their mother daintily hath fed, eating the flesh that she herself hath bred. 'Tis true, 'tis true. Witness my knife's sharp point.
Die, frantic wretch, for this accursed deed.
Can Sully's eye behold the fathers bleed? There's meat for meat and death for deadly deed!
You sad-faced men, people, and sons of Rome, by uproar served like a flight of fowl scattered by winds, high tempestuous gust. Oh, let me teach you how to knit again this scattered corn into one mutual sheaf, these broken limbs again into one body.
Then, noble auditory, be it known to you that cursed Chiron and Demetrius were they that murdered our emperor's brother, and they it were that ravished our sister. For their fell faults our brothers were beheaded, our father's tears despised, and basely cousins of that true hand that fought Rome's quarrel out, and sent her enemies unto the grave. Lastly, myself unkindly banished the gates, shut on me, and turned weeping out to beg relief among Rome's enemies, who drowned their enmity in my true tears and oped their arms to embrace me as a friend. Alas, you all know I am no vaunter. My scars can witness, dumb although they are, that my report is just and full of truth.
Come, thou revered man of Rome, Lucius, our emperor. For well I know the common voice do cry it shall be so.
Lucius, all hail Rome's royal emperor!
Thanks, gentle Romans. May I govern so, to heal Rome's harms and wipe away her woe.
Okay, we made it through that one. Hello. Hi, everybody. Everybody behind the scenes, everybody behind the screens on YouTube. Welcome to this horrifying and depressing installment of this lovely series. Hi. So, let's jump in. What did you learn about Titus Andronicus that you may not have known before? Or what surprised you this time?
I think I was surprised by just how relentlessly awful these people are. You know, there's no redeeming qualities that I could see. Lavinia, perhaps, but you know, even she's got a mouth on her, hasn't she? To start with, anyway. Just horrific, horrible, and of course, everything that happens to people is out of proportion. But God.
I wasn't aware that the feeding your enemies their offspring in a pie, I wasn't aware that dark fantasy trope came from this play. I was not aware that that's where it comes from, which just reaffirms what I said during the play, reading, and then during rehearsal yesterday. This play is twisted. It is so dark.
Damn, I also did not know that was a trope. So, good. That's a lot. It's such a fast play, and I was struck just by how much of that is driven by people making really fast decisions. There's so much going on, and like in an instant, Tamara is so quick on her feet, and Titus is really rash, and everyone is just like, "Oh well, this happened. Well, here's what we do," and they just act on impulse immediately. There's no going back and forth. You don't have any of these soliloquies of like, oh, how will I make my tortured choice? Nope. They just like, it's in their mind. They enact it.
It's got the feel of a slasher movie, hasn't it?
Or a South Park episode. Like, it's kind of like half slasher, half South Park.
I think it's so odd that he went from writing this to Comedy of Errors. I just think that's so, like, what happened? Did he get like a letter from, you know, like his publicist was like, okay, that was a bit much. Could you do a twin comedy for us?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's really fascinating. And I'd love to learn more about like the historical moment when this was written. I've read some really beautiful pieces analyzing the role of sacrifice in Roman mythology and in Roman like city mythology. Like even the rape of Lucrece is like such a huge thing, and how much Roman civilization and like the Roman Empire influenced the British Empire and was influential to their like efforts of colonization at that moment. Yeah, I'm super curious about like why this one sold and why this was written at this moment. If anybody has any ideas about that.
And thinking back what you're saying, Ella, the Romans on Greek mythology and then added like ultra violence for no reason. Like Greek mythology was all like, oh, the gods, they play with us, la la la, and the Romans were like, yes, and then we murder people. And it's part of their sort of like intimidation tactic on their like empirical trail, or as I like to think of it, as they're marauding people. They send forward their stories of how they will sacrifice X, Y, and Z, and they will murder and pillage, kind of like the Vikings, but with a better tan.
Mm-hmm.
So Greece is the MCU, and Rome is Zack Snyder's universe.
That sounds about right. That tracks.
Any other thoughts from the cast of some new things that came up today before we jump to YouTube? Well, let's check in on YouTube then.
Well, YouTube says things like, so well done, but Aaron may be the worst villain of any Shakespeare play. Aaron may be horrible, probably one of my favorite villains. Well done. It's a massive revenge play. I think that tracks with what people are talking about in terms of there are no tortured thoughts, there are just instant decisions, because the objective is so specific. There isn't any room for grey, I guess.
Whew, great observations, all. Moving on to our second question of the evening. What word, image, phrase, choice, etc. really stood out to you tonight?
I think Aaron's entire soliloquy while he was about to be hanged, that entire speech just summed up the whole play. I mean, and that, I don't know, that hatred and that, I don't know, the evil.
Alternatively, villain, I have done thy mother.
Good. That's actually, I have a magnet on my fridge that says that line.
I was very struck by the gesture of sending bits of paper with words on to sort out the big bad people.
I thought the obviously the recurring image of hands, like the importance of hands and how they can be used either for good or for ill. But something that popped out to me today was the twin images of the fly, where Titus chastises Marcus for killing a seemingly innocent fly. And then right before Aaron is meant to be hanged, he talks about how he does these heinous things and these evil things as easy as a man would kill a fly. So there's that recurring, there's that, like, they almost dovetail or bookend each other, where Aaron sort of proves Titus's original point. Like, why would you take innocent life in such a way? And like, what does that say about you? That jumped out to me today in a way I don't think I'd ever heard it before.
Yeah, similarly to that, specifically the concept of innocent life, and a really, apparently coming from a person who has a really rigid idea of what innocent means, like as somebody who just killed his own son. Yeah, I was really curious about what innocence means to Titus Andronicus.
Found the word privilege jumped out at me today, and both times that it occurs in this cut, and I would be curious to look back at the full text, but both times it occurs in this cut, it's a 3-syllable word. Really jumped out, especially in terms of the world we're living in, and especially that the first person to say it was Aaron, and speaking to literally white privilege. It really caught me in a new way today.
Yeah, I think, I mean, most, if not all, of Shakespeare's plays have like a hefty dose of racism somewhere in there, but this play is so, like, so anti-Black and so filled with rhetoric of that it was really hard. Yeah, I just like got super angry, and I think that when we're living in this moment of like a specific reckoning with Blackness and anti-Blackness in America, I was like, okay, wow, like, this is what we're reading right now. Great.
Yeah, it's almost, I was, when we were reading through it yesterday and hearing the references to Blackness in this one, your first thought obviously is to jump back to Othello. And I was just like, oh, this play makes the way that they sort of talked subversively about Othello's race, that makes what happened in Venice look like, this makes what happens in Venice looks like polite society. It was wild. Whereas like the folks in Venice were just like, your daughter's over there in the ice cream, like making the swirl flavor happen. These people are just like, no, everything that is black is evil and bad and awful and not good. And I was like, well, damn. Okay, then. How do you really feel?
Any other thoughts from the cast before we ask the YouTubes?
The way virginity is handled, like womanhood and virginity. I was struck today when Celeste Lavinio, was like, kill me rather than have my virginity be taken. In a way that is not, consensual, but that the way that virginity is held up, even still, is really troubling and interesting to me. And then like the physical, literal silencing of the woman struck me as well.
Yeah, what's going on down in the YouTube chat?
Well, Doug says that he was struck by, but how if that fly had a father and mother and thou hadst killed him? I think it goes back to what Daniel was saying. We've got Chiron's line, thou hast undone our mother. Thou hast undone our mother. And Aaron says, villain, I have done thy mother. Someone else loving that line. There's a couple of people who love that line. Shari was struck by the staging. She thought it was a really good job of that, considering that we are in a digital format. Make them know what it is to let a queen kneel in the streets and beg for grace in vain. That was Chris, who really felt that. And lots of shouts in agreement to what you were saying, Daniel, about what's going on at the moment.
Something I just remembered was was it Aaron's line? A woman therefore to be wooed, a woman therefore to be won. What other play did that just?
That was actually my line. It was Demetrius.
Oh, that was Demetrius's line.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't we just hear that in another play?
Yeah, Richard III.
Yeah.
And another one, but I don't remember which one.
Was it Love's Labor?
Yeah, I think it's in one of the comedies that we just did.
Simon also said Henry VI Part 1, I think.
Oh, right. Ay, ay, ay.
Yeah, Suffolk said it. Yeah.
Well, great. That's all good to know. Okay, our final question of the night is, why does or doesn't this play matter today?
I often forget about how this play begins. Like what sets all of this in motion, and then in watching it tonight and thinking of the shifting powers that be in America, I think of it reminds me of the instability of a society in the midst of a chaotic transfer of power. And again, you have so many decisions made really quickly without necessarily following proper methods. Like protocol is thrown out the window. You start off with essentially like an election. You have these two people and they're pleading or stumping for their own case to be emperor, and then somebody else comes in and says, oh well, forget all of this, we made our own choice, but then that person doesn't want it and passes it off to the person he chooses, and it's just like ping-ponging around. You're like, what's the protocol? Like, someone blow the whistle and pull out the rule book right now, but it just happens so quickly that no one's there to stop it. So I don't know. I don't like, following the news and seeing like how quickly the modes of voting are shifting, and, polling places are disappearing left and right. And it's like, oh, okay, well, here, we'll just roll with it. And there's this kind of steamroller feeling that like, well, like power has to be had, but what do we do when it's being jostled over, and when it's kind of like the hot potato that isn't landing and that no one's catching? It's just an awful feeling, and to see the chaos and the devastation that follows, I think, as a result of no one agreeing on who's in charge, is startling.
Piggybacking off of that, I think what's interesting about this play, somebody brought up the line earlier that stuck out to them, that sweet mercy is nobility's true badge. And I think this play is important right now because it sort of feels like a running commentary on the pitfalls of having absolute power and the way that corrupts people. Because throughout this play, whether it's Titus with the way that he so easily discards his children, or whether it is Tamara and the way that she exerts her power, or the way that the two brothers at the beginning who are vying for the emperorship are so fearful of the power of the people and how like shifting it can be. There's a whole lot of conversation about power and what it means to have it and what it means to wield it, but none of these characters display and not even a trace or a touch of mercy. So there's this interesting contrast that happens where everybody is chasing power, everyone is aiming to be powerful, but no one is practicing nobility, no one is practicing what I would argue is like the greatest use of power, the greatest display of power, which is restraint. Everybody is so ready to just grab onto power and swing it around like a cudgel that nobody is thinking, like somebody said, everybody in this play is all rash actions, and no one even thinks for a second what will happen if they do these things that they have the capacity to do, and they don't even think what happens if, which would lead you to, should I even? That question is never really addressed. It's like, I can do it, so I'm gonna.
Daniel, that makes me think of a line from Julius Caesar when I think Brutus says the abuse of greatness is when it disjoins remorse from power. The idea that yet again we're understanding like power can achieve a lot. Power can be effective and can be good, but what does it look like when it's abused? And like you said, it's this divorcing of two essential pieces.
Yeah.
And that made me think too, Daniel, like I had never really, again, also to your point, Joel, at the beginning of the play, like Titus starts off as the most nationalistic warrior, so proud of nation, and is killing his sons to uphold the structure that he's dedicated his life to and believes in, even against his own flesh and blood. And it takes so much violence and loss to convince him that those structures are fucked. And I feel like that is incredibly resonant in this moment.
I think too, changing gears a bit, but in terms of the modern era and why this matters today, it's a fascinating insight into ageism and disrespect of a generation once we've gotten what we need from them. And then Titus turning down the crown, and it's like, okay, fine, bye. And it's sort of forgotten, and the mental health awareness of that lens, and also treatment of veterans when they return and when they're no longer useful to us, and they return and they turn down something that we want them to do. And then it's just like, okay, cool, see ya, thanks. There's something about that strikes me as important today.
CP already kind of touched on this, but I would say like violence against women as a political move. That's pretty relevant. And also like the idea of ownership over a woman's body is still very much present in multiple societies around the world. Yeah, I would say, yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, thank you for bringing that up. And like, I do think that it's special that that Lavinia is believed. Like when we were reading that part, we were getting there, and then I was like, oh right, like I don't remember. Do they actually think that? Like, what do they think of what she says? And the fact that immediately after naming, they're like, great, we're gonna go get him. I was kind of like, okay, great. Well, they got that going for him.
I'm very much touched by Marcus's approach to Lavinia when he sees her, that he doesn't enforce any blame on her. He doesn't really ask her any question. She doesn't get the whole, well, where were you? Kind of question that is sadly asked to a lot of women who are victims of sexual assault and rape. Yeah, I thought a lot about that amazing protest that women in Brazil were doing a couple of months ago. Maybe it was in January, I think. But they did this just incredible protest against the state of Brazil because I think it was that the president had been ousted for sexual assault, and that there were all these cases of women being attacked as a political move, and it just going. I don't know. I was just thinking their protest was super powerful. You should look up a video of it if you haven't seen it. They just like took to the streets and were just chanting, and it was very powerful. I thought about that.
Thank you, Celeste. Any last words from the cast before we ask some questions of you two? Let's hear it.
There's lots of agreement with Joel, and Amber would really be interested in finding out CP's thoughts, and I guess less thoughts on King of the Shrew and what that may or may not bring up in terms of the things that we've talked about with women this evening, regarding women this evening. Joe says that it feels like Titus is very much a cautionary tale. Think about your actions or else chaos.
Thank you. Do we have any questions from our YouTubers? We can dive into that Taming of the Shrew discussion, or yeah, is there anything else they're wondering?
Daniel hit upon the question that I've come across, so I believe we have answered it.
Any questions from the cast? Anything else on your mind?
I was surprised, and I know this sounds like a strange thing to say considering it's Shakespeare, and there are often a lot of classical allusions in his work, but I was surprised by the sheer volume of them in this one. And I guess that feels stranger in this one because it is set in the classical world. So it's that kind of meta feeling when you're in a classical play and they're talking about other classic writers of the time, and particularly when Hector was mentioned a lot, it threw me. Like, literally pushed me out of it and went, Hector, what? But where are we? Of course, people would have been reading Hector's work at this time. Maybe?
Who knows? Who was Shakespeare's dramaturg making sure the timelines lined up? I don't know.
Whenever I read and see and study this play, I just feel like it had so much that it was trying to prove, and thinking of where it landed in his timeline, and knowing what preceded this, and thinking of like, oh, coming out of Two Gents and coming out of Taming, and then to be like, oh, well, don't type me. And obviously there's so much we can't know about his process, but that idea of like, I'm going to load up on illusion, I'm going to load up on violent death, I'm going to load up on Rome, and just grandeur, like all of this was like, y'all don't even know the tricks I have up my sleeve, and I'm going to use all of them until they're gone. It just feels like he was just dumping it all in, and I guess people must have liked it because obviously his career kept going. But it definitely feels like he decided this will be my big one.
And is it not a little bit weird? I know because we've gone backwards, so we're in the early plays, right? The first three are all really problematic in lots of very different ways. Like Two Gents is just bleh, but then so's Taming of the Shrew. It's also equally bleh, and then this one is actually physically repulsive. And then comedy, which also I know is problematic in its own right. Like, one feels like, oh, what a sweet release after these three.
Yeah, it's a little bit like someone was like, okay, dude, you're like going a little too hard on these first three. Why don't you just do like a remake for your fourth one? Don't worry, the story already exists. Just do some rewriting. But don't add anything weird, please. I've done enough.
Yeah, it feels like when you go to see someone's graduate thesis piece, and like you know the person, you're like, oh, well, there's going to have to be at least 3 movement pieces, and there's going to have to be some weird moment when like blood is thrown at the audience, but it's intercepted by some saran wrap, which becomes some sort of like, you know, it's going to get weird in the graduate piece. But if you can show the talent underneath, which yeah, I don't know. I love those invitations, and then I'm also like, ah, damn it, I think I'm busy that night. No.
Yeah, I feel that. Wow. Any last thoughts before we take some convo to the pub? Great. Why don't we, Monty? Do you want to, or someone who knows the words? Why don't you talk about the pub?
And Dan muted himself, so I guess that means it's me. Oh no, CP, go! Yay!
Yay! Well, I just want to say we've got 2, right? Today's Monday, 2 left. And then this project wraps up. So for all of you who have joined us for the first time tonight, thank you for being here. For all of you who have been on the whole process, thank you for being here. It's such a gift to this ensemble that you share your time, and to this ensemble, holy cow, thank you for being here. You have given so much heart and soul and artistry, and it's wow, it's been a journey. So we've got 2 left. We've got Wednesday, we've got Friday. If you want to support the artists that you see here tonight, feel free to join our Patreon program. So patreon.com/Shakespeare Happy Hours. It's basically like a membership. There's different levels at which you can join, and all of those funds go to support the artists that you see here tonight. One of the benefits that we were talking about of being a Patreon supporter is joining us at the post-show company pub, where we hang out, chit chat, talk about all kinds of things, sometimes the play, sometimes not, but we'd love to see you there. We hope that we see you all on Wednesday and on Friday, one or both. And thank you for considering giving. And even more importantly, we hope that you're considering giving to the countless places that desperately need support and advocacy and champions right now. So thank you for your time. Thank you for the love, and we'll see you soon.